be.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay now. Hello, Luke. To begin, I would like to say that I have passed a good moment to watch Occupation Rainfall. The screenplay, special effects are really great. Please, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay. Uh, Hello, I'm Luke Sparke, the director, writer, creator of Occupation Rainfall. I started working in the film industry when I was in my teens, working in background, behind the scenes with costume props, working on film sets such as The Pacific and X-Men Origins Wolverine, and eventually moving into directing films myself. I made a film it was released in 2018 called Occupation, which is about an alien invasion of Earth set in Australia.
Mhm.
And this film is a sequel to that where I moved the story forward.
After Red Billabong, Occupation Handful is your third movie. As a writer and a director, what was your writing process on this movie, and which were the main differences between this one and Occupation?
Okay. So Occupation, I wrote kind of by the seat of my pants, a new project that I wanted to, just continue on directing. And while I was editing that film, I sort of saw it as a one and done movie. But while I was editing it, I came up with this whole extra story, new world, where the story can continue on. And I started writing that. I guess the difference is I went to my producers and I told them this one's going to be a hell of a lot bigger than the first one, and I'm gonna write it big from the beginning rather than Occupation, where I sort of had to figure it out as I went along. So the writing process for this one was many months, and really sort of defining characters and the world building and where they are as humanity, and also giving life to the alien species and more backstory on them.
What should be for you a good acting direction? What can you tell us about your work with Tamira Morrison, Dan Ewing, Zach Garrett, Ian Connor on this movie, and also previously Occupation?
So the previous movie, like I said, I was figuring it out as I went. Like Temuera Morrison came in quite late. We offered him the role and he accepted, much to my delight, being a Star Wars fan. And Dan Ewing and Zach Garrett were there during the audition process, and we all kind of were figuring it out on the set of where these characters are and who they are and how to deal with them. I guess going into this one, I was able to already have established characters and work out where they were, and I kind of knew them a lot more. I knew how Temuera speaks, I know how Zach speaks, I know how Dan speaks, so I was able to mold their characters in the script this time, and that was really exciting for me. And when they were on set, they also were able to know their characters a lot more, and I think that helped everyone from a starting off point.
On this movie, you are working with Ken Jeong. It is really fun. Can you talk a little about your collaboration with him on this movie?
Yeah, it was a real coup to get Ken Jeong. I offered him the role first up. I think he liked it because it wasn't written specifically for him. It wasn't like a little Asian man comes out. It was just a guy, and I think he really appreciated that. And I gave him a lot of free reign to sort of work on the characters. We called each other and talked about it. And then when he was here on set, obviously when you have Ken Jeong, you just let him do his thing. Um, so he was great to have that sort of third act, at the beginning of the third act, to have this real sort of just offbeat, something completely different. I always explained it like the Wizard of Oz, where they're going down this Emerald Road towards the Emerald City, and when they get there, it's this big guy behind a giant head, so it's not what they thought. And it's kind of the same on this. This mission is rainfall, 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 and they get there, and it's just these two morons running the facility. And I thought that was really good, and I thought Ken brought that to life very, very well.
It seems that you have this story in your head since you were a kid. Can you speak a little about your Star Wars influences on your writing and the way you directed Occupation? And also, on your back, some hot toys, Star Wars.
Yeah. Look, I'm a huge movie buff. Even before I started working in the film industry, all I did was watch Empire Strikes Back on my Return of the Jedi beanbag all the way through the 80s. So heavily influenced by Aliens, Starship Troopers, Star Wars, Independence Day. And yes, I wear them on my sleeve, and I think it obviously comes through in my directing. That's been part of my life for a long time, and I love the themes that those sort of movies can bring to stories and humanity. And I guess I'm an optimist, and I like to sort of see the best in people, even though they can get into some pretty shitty circumstances. I like seeing how the characters and humanity plays together, and bringing the alien Gary into it as well was really interesting for me to sort of bring a new dynamic to these sort of movies.
In this specific time, how is difficult to create a movie and to find some money to do it?
Yeah. I mean, that's always the big challenge. This one particularly, like I said before, I knew going in it was going to be big. So it's just gathering an army behind you of people that support the film and can see the belief in it. This one was all independently financed by ourselves in house through family and friends and other investors and that. So that was a huge undertaking at the same time of making such a big movie as well. So yes, it was 3 years of my life every day for 20 hours a day.
What is the biggest challenge of shooting an independent movie in Australia actually?
Look, I think the biggest challenge is probably going to be the finance in an independent movie, especially like this. I mean, even movies for $1 million, people have, obviously it's hard. Obviously, I was a little bit lucky in this one where I was coming off Occupation One. I could, I had people that I knew. Even then, we had to cut the film into like a couple of blocks of shooting. So we shot some in 2018. Then we had like a year. Then we came back and shot more in 2019. So even to do that was a lot of effort in terms of continuity and editing and making sure that people looked the same and acted the same and it felt the same. There's some scenes within the movie where we shot literally one angle on an actor and then a year later was another angle on the reverse and you have to cut it together and it looks okay. No one can probably tell. I can sit there and go 2018, 2019, that was a pickup, that was over here, but it's just movie magic. And that's why I love the film industry so much. You can create something like that.
Which are for you the good ingredients to recreate a good sci-fi movie as this one? The special effects, the cast, which are for you the good ingredients to create a good sci-fi movie?
Okay.
As this one, maybe the special effects.
I think obviously visual effects are huge important in a sci-fi movie like this. But I think any sci-fi, you're going to have to do visual effects. I think it's all about the characters and the story at the end of the day. Like what is the driving force of this film or this story that you're trying to tell? I think if you get that right, you can really work around whatever. Like I could have had Matt and Gary storyline between the two aliens and the humans, and I could have had that in a paddock, as long as the dialogue was still okay, probably still would have worked. But obviously, once you have that characters, then you can create the world around them, how big you can go. And I think, that's what I tried to do this time.
What was the most difficult scene for you to shoot in this movie and why?
Okay. I think the most difficult sequence for me was probably when they escaped Sydney. Because we were filming, we had to film trucks moving and we had to film the drones at the air battle and we had to film inside the trucks and also back at the base and we had to work together. I think that was the most difficult because we had to break it all down where we were filming the trucks by themselves on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. And then we had to take all that and get rid of the background and put it in this destroyed Sydney. And then we had to film the people on green screen. And then it was just a real puzzle box to work out. And it was fun to do. It was fun to work out that puzzle box of how we can achieve it. Of course, in a $100 million film, they probably would have built everything and just filmed it. But we didn't have that luxury. So working that out was a real challenge, but exciting challenge that we could able to pull it off.
The photography and the music are really great. What can you tell us about the collaboration with Wade Muller and Freddie Witherman?
So Wade Muller, this is the first time I worked with him. I've wanted to work with him for a while. He's an Aussie who works a lot over in Asia, worked on Jason Statham films and a few other things like that. To get him was fantastic. He came over and just so polite and so has a great work ethic where he was always ready with the camera before we were even ready with the cast, which was always really good. And he brought in a lighting tech called Storm Ashwood. Props to him if he's listening, if he's reading as well. He lit the thing so fantastically. Freddie Witherman is an American in LA, and I've heard his stuff on YouTube for years, and I actually mentioned it to my producers for Occupation One, but it just didn't work out. And to get him, he replied within 24 hours, and within 3 days, he'd given me 20 minutes at the beginning of the movie, and I didn't change a thing. And straight away, I knew that this was the guy. I'm huge on score. I love John Williams, obviously, from Star Wars. And to hear something, especially during the final mix of the film, where we had a London orchestra do the strings and the brass and all this kind of stuff during COVID, while they were all wearing their masks and everything, to hear it live actually brought a tear to my eye. So it was an amazing experience working with him.
What can you tell us about the really great special effects in this movie? They are really amazing and look like this one is an American blockbusters. The beginning of your movie is wow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I wanted. When I started storyboarding everything out and pre-visualization, I knew it was going to have to look, as good as we can get. Do all the shots work? Probably not, but it's overall the feeling, and there's like 1,700 visual effects shots in that, which is pretty amazing for an independent film. We had teams working here in Australia, like around the clock, right up until the point where I had to literally pull it off them to deliver the film. What can I say? I mean, it's amazing stuff you can do these days. I pushed the guys really hard. They came through for me, and that's the sort of movies I want to make. And I was trying to emulate a blockbuster film, all packaged up from Australia.
And my last questions, can we expect a third movie to complete the Occupation universe? And which are your current projects?
Well, at the end of this movie, it certainly seems like I'm going to do a third one, isn't it? I mean, look, without spoiling it, and if you haven't seen the movie, spoilers. I took the script to my people, and it was huge. It was like 400 pages. So I did cut it in half, and I said, let's have a thing at the end to say there's another one coming. So yes, there is a third one in active development. Well, I won't say a third one. I'll say the second half of this movie. In active development with us here, and I'm also working on a different project, which is a TV series.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.